So, before we start, I need everyone to understand that I have already had a very productive morning. I dropped a 20 kilo plate on my top. I spilled pre workout on my clean shirt. And I spent 11 minutes looking for my phone while using the flashlight on my phone.
Few moments later.
So, biologically, we are not operating at a full capacity today. But somehow, talking into this microphone is still the most emotional, stable part of my life. You understand my situation, right? Yeah. This is the Lab Rat Life, the show where we talk fitness, nutrition, and the human body very seriously, but absolutely refuse to take ourselves seriously. I am Abhimanyu S. And before we begin, let me make three promises. I will not sell you detox tea. I will not sell you a waist trainer. And I will never tell you that waking up at 4 a.m. to stare directly into the sun is the secret for getting your abs. Mostly because if I wake up at 4 a.m., something has gone medically wrong. Today we are talking about motivation. More specifically, why you can watch 47 motivational reels. Drink a pre-workout so strong it should require a prescription. Blast your favorite playlist, slap yourself in your face, walk in the gym like a Greek statue with caffeine poisoning, and still somehow not want to train. And then you blame yourself, right? You say you're lazy, you are undisciplined, I need to want it more. No, because a lot of what we call motivation is actually your brain's reward system trying to survive the absolute circus you keep putting it through. And the main character in that circus is, do you know who? It's dopamine. Not the TikTok version of dopamine, not I ate a cookie dopamine. It's actual dopamine. The molecule involved in drive, pursuit, craving, anticipation, movement, and effort. Basically, dopamine is not the reward. Dopamine is the motivation to get the reward. It's less like happiness and more like your brain's unpaid intern screaming like,
So, we have a target.
now, very quickly, who am I? And why should you listen to me instead of a 19-year-old TikTok doing bicep curls on a hoverboard while giving hormone advice? My name is Abhimanyu S, and I'm obsessed with three things: fitness, nutrition, and stopping people from falling apart like a cheap furniture. I've trained over a decade, I've competed in multiple sports, I work with real human beings. And with real jobs, real stress, real joints, and real fridges full of containers that may or may not be chicken. I'm not here to be your guru. I'm your filter, your translator, your slightly over caffeinated friend who read the boring signs. So you can stop getting your health advice from a man yelling shirtless in the parking lot. Like, dopamine is not one thing, it's something else. Here's the first thing most people get wrong. Your dopamine system does not work like this. You press a button, dopamine released, life good, that's cartoon biology. Your brain has two important dopamine patterns. The first is chronic dopamine. That's your baseline, your background level. Think of it like your phone battery. If your baseline is healthy, you wake up at 80%. You can train, you can work, you can answer emails without fantasizing about throwing your laptop into the sea. But if your baseline is low, you wake up at 7% and now everything feels impossible. Getting out of bed feels impossible. It feels like a side quest. Doing cardio feels like a war crime. And meal prep, don't make me start telling about meal prep. Meal prep feels like an unpaid emotional labor. The second pattern is phasic dopamine. These are the spikes, the peaks, the big surges you get from anticipation, a PR, a cheat meal, a new notification, and maybe a spicy situationship text that says, "You up?" Never answer that. That's not dopamine, that's a trap for you. So you have your baseline and you have your spikes. And here's where things get painful. The bigger the spike, the more likely you are to feel a drop afterward. Your brain does not give out unlimited motivational coupons. It has a budget. And some of you are spending that budget like a drunk millionaire in Dubai. Imagine your dopamine baseline is here. Then you stack everything: pre workout, favorite playlist, energy drink. Your brain launches dopamine into the orbit. Beautiful, incredible. You feel like Thor with a gym membership.
I'm still worthy.
But afterwards, your brain pulls you back down. Not just to normal, below normal. That's the part people miss. The higher the peak, the deeper the valley can feel afterwards. So the next day, you are lying on your couch thinking, why do I feel empty? My program must be wrong. maybe I need a new pre-workout. No, your brain is in overdraft. You didn't lose discipline. You took your motivation system, swiped the card, maxed it out, and now dopamine customer service is calling you home. Hello, sir. We noticed 11 suspicious transactions at Motivational Mall. And this is why chasing bigger and bigger stimulation can make normal effort feel boring. The workout didn't get worse, your threshold got higher. Modern gym culture is a dopamine casino. Now let's talk about the modern gym culture. Because they accidentally turned training into a dopamine casino. Before some people even touch a weight, they have already consumed 300 milligrams of caffeine, a playlist called Villain Arc, 3 motivational edits, and one imaginary argument with their ex. By the time the first set starts, the nervous system has already filed a complaint with the HR. And listen, I love a good playlist, I love caffeine, and I love a dramatic walk to the Scotland. But if every workout requires a full cinematic universe, your brain starts learning as if like training is not rewarded by itself. It only matters if there is music, caffeine, novelty, and emotional damage. That's definitely dangerous. That is not good for you. Because then a normal workout feels dead. A quiet workout feels strong. A boring workout feels impossible to finish. A boring workouts are where most progress lives. Progress is not always fireworks. Sometimes progress is just showing up, doing Romanian deadlifts, questioning your life choices, and going home. This is called maturity or hamstring trauma. Depends on the day. 2 brain highways. Now, acute brain science, not a lecture. I promise if this gets boring, I will walk out of here. So, your dopamine system has 2 different pathways. Pathway number 1, nigrostriatal pathway. This one helps with movement, coordination, motor control. The reason you can squat without consciously sending individual mails to your glutes. For example, like, dear glute maximus, please contract at your earliest convenience. Pathway 2, the mesocorticolimbic pathway. This is your reward and motivational pathway, like drive, craving, pursuit, etc. etc. So one system helps you move, the other one helps you want to move. And if the reward system is fried, movement becomes negotiable. That's when your brain starts negotiating like a corrupt politician. Like as if we could train legs today. Oh, hear me out. We could just scroll our mobile and call it a productive day. That's too bad. So motivation is not just mindset, it's biology. And biology responds to inputs, which means we can train it. So here's the practical fix. Stop giving yourself the exact same dopamine stack on every single workout. Use indefinite reward. Casinos use this to ruin lives. We are going to use it to build quads. Before the gym, flip a coin. Heads, you get the playlist, you get the hype, you get to walk in like a main character. So, tails, no playlist, no hype video, no cocktail pre-workout, you training silence. Just you, the weight, and the sound of your knees making popcorn noises. Why does this work? Because you stop making your brain dependent on some external reward every time. Some days training is exciting, some days training is boring. Both counts. This is the entire point. Discipline is not needing the perfect emotional weather to do the thing. Discipline is doing the thing when your brain is giving out the loading screen of death. So, cold water, the baseline tool. Now, if you want to raise alertness without constantly chasing a giant spike, cold exposure can help. So, cold water can increase dopamine gradually and keep it elevated for a while afterward. But the key word is gradually, not a violent spike and crash. More like it's a slow climb. Now, don't be a hero. You don't need to climb into an ice bath like a tortured Viking. Start simple, slow. Cold shower in 30 seconds. Breathe, build up slowly. And if you have heart issues, blood pressure problems, or medical conditions, check with a qualified professional first. The goal is not suffer for Instagram. The goal is to teach your nervous system I can endure discomfort, stay calm, and come out better. That is extremely useful for training and in life. So, the real lesson, here's the big takeaway. If you only train for reward at the end, the pump, the mirror selfie, for example, the cheat meal, you teach your brain that effort is just annoying tool both before pleasure. That is just sad. But if you can learn to find reward inside the effort, inside the friction, inside the uncomfortable part of the set, you become dangerous. Not because you are hyped all the time, but because you no longer need it to be. When the set gets heavy, when your brain says stop, and every cell in your body is filing a legal complaint, tell yourself this. This friction is the reward. Not in a fake motivational poster way, in a biological way. Effort can become rewarding when you repeatedly attach meaning to it. That is the system. Stop chasing the hit. Protect your baseline. Always protect your baseline. Mind the way you train your body, and remember, if your workout requires caffeine, reach, heartbreak, and a near death experience, you may not have a discipline problem. You may have accidentally turned leg day into a nightclub. This is the lab rat line. Drop your worst pre workout disaster story in the comments. Subscribe if you like science with jokes. And I will see you in the next deep dive. Bye.